thank you for inviting me to News with Jews, your show where we discuss news and booze with Jews, and being the Jewish guest today representing the entire race. I really appreciate it, Eric.
And he's back. We
Well,
brought the Jew in, so
well,
he's not going to do the booze. He's going to be the juice. I'm going to do the booze. Allison may show up. We do have Raging Bitch, which is in theme because you're a Gonzo reporter, Mark Robert, right?
Gonzo.
Yep. Raging Bitch is same artist that did Hunter S. Thompson, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, etc. So in the theme.
Wait. You're talking about Stedman?
I guess, but yes, that's the.
That's a Stedman. You're right. That's an original Stedman. What is it? His beer, or he just does the label?
He does the label for Raging Dog. Flying Dog, Raging Bitch.
Wow.
I think he does other ones as well, but it's pretty cool.
Oh, he's a legend. He's a legend.
So in the theme of that, we're tying a journalistic loop here.
Whoa, I see what you're doing.
Mark has the full range, everything from real journalism all the way to Weekly World News and tabloid. So
the Weekly World News, Eric, is a strange publication because it looks like a newspaper. And everybody went to lunch one time, and I answered the phone. There was a woman on there who said she had a photo of Jesus in the clouds. And I said, well, we do have a lot of those, which they did. I was new there. I didn't know the rules. So there was nobody in the room except me because they all went to lunch. And she said, I have the photo of Jesus in the clouds. And I said, I think we have a lot of those. And she said, no, this is different. And I said, why? She goes, well, it's Jesus with someone else. And I go, what? She said, yeah, this photo is Jesus with Karl Marx. And I said, you got to be kidding me. So I said, send it in immediately. And she sent it in. It looked like Karl Marx and Jesus in the clouds. So we printed it.
Oh, hey, that's a winner. Yep. Okay, it looks like Viva Fry Sidebar has finished. So a lot of people are going to be rolling in. Welcome. We got Rackets, Ricada Nick Ricada, who's famous for drinking into the evening. So we've got everything covered here. We have good Lord. Okay, Allison was with us in the preamble. She's not going to probably come back.
What?
Her phone overheated. It's 111 degrees in Vegas. So I guess
let me tell you something. What goes to Vegas melts in Vegas, which is an old saying. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Lynn is here, though, her husband.
Oh, hey, Lynn.
Allie found a friend, and they're out. I think they're going to be heading out for the evening. So for everybody who's late, again, hold on. Let's slide her in real quickly while we have it. Allie and her friend. Hi, Allie's friend. What is your name?
This is my new friend, Bree. And
hi, Bree.
We have something in common. Bree, show them what we have in common.
There we go. That's what you're having. Now, to open up with the story while we have you here, you took a flight to Vegas earlier, Allison. Tell us what happened in first class.
Well, first off, I want to say the reason that I was frozen, I don't know if I was frozen at the beginning of the live stream or if nobody saw that, but it's 111 degrees where I am right now.
Take your clothes off. Take your clothes off. Both of you, take your clothes off.
So, anyway, Bree's going to just keep drinking while I talk. So,
okay.
He's got the biggest drink I've ever seen. That's why I said this girl was born to do news with booze, especially since she has a tripod she carries with her. So we're all set. I was on the airplane today going from Seattle to Vegas, and we had both booked seats, my husband and I, with our child, together in Comfort Plus on Delta. But my husband travels so much that he is a medallion customer, and so he always gets moved up to first class whenever there's an open first class seat, and that happens a lot. So they moved him to first class, but they split us. So he said, you take the first class seat with our kid, which I did, except for then I sat next to a guy who was on the phone, and for the next 10 minutes complained about, well, basically life in general, but I heard him say, it's a girl, and oh my God, it's getting worse, and just kept going on. So I go, okay, dude, you know what? I looked at him, he's on the phone. I go, I'll just give my kid to my husband, all right? Because it's pretty obvious you don't want to sit next to a kid. And he was like, white as a ghost. Like the guy was like, this lady's been. So kind of rude, right? So Anyway, yeah. So that's. Did you play the Mama Bear video?
Not yet. That's what we're leading into. Thanks for spoiling there. No.
We're also live on Bree's Instagram right now. She's a designer. Well, what do we call it?
E-commerce online business owner.
Oh, okay.
Go find
And you're
your business.
Privé label. It's a PRI. It's French.
French. Privé. Oh, like private. Okay.
Oh.
French major in college.
okay.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah. So
Cheers to that.
félicitations, as they say.
Oh, d'accord.
Well, that leads into the first story that Allison tried to spoil. I don't know if everybody saw this.
That bitch.
In fairness, that took some serious internal fortitude to do that. That is scary as hell. For
Show
sure. Let me end the loop here.
live on Instagram on News with Booze is going big time tonight. All right.
Oh, awesome.
We're all
Let
over.
everybody knows so they can come and join you guys.
Yeah. Anyone who's anywhere is welcome. And you can
Yeah, Eric Hunley is the channel. News with Booze.
Yeah.
Or hashtag News with Booze. Hopefully it works. Who knows?
That's hilarious.
All righty. Anyway, apparently the same girl in that video, she was what, 17, Mark?
Well, she's 17, but she looks 18.
Okay, well, there's the qualification.
I was going. I was gonna guess she was like in her 40s.
She's had some work done.
What are you drinking?
A margarita.
A strawberry margarita. I'm drinking normal margarita.
Anyway, that's her. That's the only injury she got.
Oh, there she is. She is young.
Yeah, she is.
Broke her finger. That's awesome, though.
Oh, that is some seriously badass stuff. And Barnes is here. He suspects that you've said that before, Mark. She looks.
Touche.
Where was this took place, Eric?
That's funny.
Let me see. I'm not sure where she's located.
News with Booze.
Yes.
Gotta go to Eric.
I think it's Northern California, Eric. I was looking for that too.
I'm gonna ask.
Is it really?
Well, she said there's bears. They live in the woods. I don't know. It's not Brooklyn.
I didn't know it was in the U.S. though. I thought it was like in
Oh.
Philippines or something.
No. It's clearly California. It's like upstate Oregon.
Oh, California team. Okay.
Yeah, it's California. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a golden bear. It's probably on the campaign circuit with this guy, Eric, who's running for governor. He's traveling around with a grizzly bear as part of his recall campaign against Newsom.
Oh, okay. Well,
So-
that wouldn't be Eric Garcetti who left town, is it?
Garcetti's still packing and heading to India as we speak. And we don't have a mayor, so we're all chipping in, Eric, a little bit.
Oh, good.
Everyone is acting as a mayor.
And it's an improvement, I'm sure.
Askin coming on next week, Eric.
I'm sorry. Who? What?
I just told Bree that you have Carol Baskin coming on next week. She's extremely impressed.
Well, I haven't exactly revealed that yet, but okay.
Oh,
Actually,
I
sorry,
think this-
Breaking news. Breaking news. No,
Eric. Sorry.
no worries. Next item up, Mark. Okay, by the way, you and I could just like take the night off because Mark was just finding story after story after story. I actually found one here so I could feel like I contributed a little bit to the program.
Okay.
This literally just came in not that long ago,
breaking news.
and it's semi-breaking. It's
Semi-breaking.
very, very weak sauce that I mocked him for before. But oh my God, Trump shut down his blog. Do you remember the Trump social media platform, which I joked about for about 10 minutes last time about it's called a blog.
Hmm.
So yes, news with booze and spoilers. Yes. So there, I won't be putting up the teaser videos, but yes, folks, I have Carol Baskin coming on Monday. Mark wanted me to ask a particular question in a nice way, but we'll have to see about that one.
What do you have a whole series of murderers who are still at large as a YouTube series, Eric?
Well, yeah, you're here.
Right, but I was never charged. Was Carol charged with the murder of her husband?
No,
Okay.
no, exactly. So you're in the same place. No. She's never been charged. So I don't know if I'm going to go straight at her like that. I don't know. I don't have that finesse that you do, Mark.
It takes years, Eric, to develop that style.
Wow, you're very popular, Bree, by the way. Very, very popular.
Since I have to go soon, is there anything you want to talk about before I leave? Allison's new friend is gorgeous. Just got a shout out.
Yeah, she's been getting all kinds of shout outs. People are digging on Bree.
In a video before I saw Bree out there with her selfie stick, and I was like, "This is how." Because Lynn goes, "Are you sure you're gonna agree?" I go, "Come on! I have been asking people for interviews for 15 years. Like, if I can't go up to somebody drinking in Vegas and get them to go on camera, then I wasn't in TV news. You know what I'm saying?"
There you go. And then she's an influencer too, so it's all over, right? Is that the Virgin Casino in Vegas you are located in at the moment?
Yes. But please don't come kill us. Thank you.
What room are you guys in so we could send some people up there?
Word, that looks like the Yes, that's where we are right now.
Okay.
Bree's a little freaked out. She's like, okay, this was fun a minute ago. Bye-bye now. I'm off to drink now. All right, Allison, thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye.
And you guys have a blast.
Look up her clothing line. Free Bay.
Yes, freebaylabel.com.
All right.
It's my
Thank you
favorite.
very
It's my favorite cheese of all time.
All right. Well, that's the fun part of News with Booze. I never know what's exactly going to happen,
All right.
but that's the magic in it. Okay, so Trump. Do you remember when he released that whole "From the Desk of Donald Trump" about a month ago?
Yeah. What happened? It's no longer there, or
Yeah, it's already done.
I know
They
think
shut
he's
it down today.
I think he's coming up with a bigger thing, Eric. Actually.
Well, he's supposedly going to join another social network, and then somebody else just said that he got approved.
Right. I think this.
Stephen Miller announced it like right before airtime. I don't know what that is or not, but the whole "From the Desk" was a joke anyway. I mean, it's a freaking blog. One-way communication.
I think it was just a placeholder until he got a bigger operation.
Oh, okay.
That's my opinion, for what it's worth. I don't think that was his final gambit, Eric.
Oh, I really hope so. Oh, yeah, good point. Barnes, he lives in Vegas.
Barnes knows. He knows the joke.
Yeah, he's right down the road from there, probably.
He's up in their hotel room right now, naked Barnes.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe
We're
not.
gonna let that stay in Vegas.
All right.
I don't want to ruin his vibe there, man. All right, so
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say about this. I don't remember any time in world history when a former leader was shut down on every social media except the telephone. So I really don't look at the blog, as you call it, as anything other than a placeholder and an attempt to communicate to 75 million people that he can't communicate to on a regular basis. So, I mean, Biden had a Memorial Day video conference from the White House that had 7,714 viewers, and he's the president.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know what to say about the communications other than I hear Trump's going for something bigger. Yeah.
Right. But, okay. Here's the thing. Trump had already been communicating. He's got Jack Poso. He's got his son. He's got a million people. He can drop a message anytime he wants to 100 people instantly, and it'll be magnified to far more than Biden would ever have. So, I mean, he didn't need a blog to put something down, which would probably have a staff member putting it up anyway. most likely. Why not wait? Why not work with Parler or some piece of garbage?
I
or,
don't know.
whatever else?
Like I said, I think it was just a temporary placeholder until he gets the real thing.
Maybe.
You know,
I guess
mean,
Candace Owens' husband is the new CEO of Parler.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know.
That's.
Wait,
I don't know
is
how.
Trump going on Parler? Is that what you're saying, or?
No, I don't know that he is, and I hope he doesn't. I mean, no offense. I think Parler got screwed very badly in January, and I was very pissed off about it and let it be known. But it's also not a very good platform, and that's one of the problems with alternative media. Is yes, we want other voices, but we also want quality, and sadly, a lot of them just aren't that good.
Well, it could be
due.
that we're used to the other style of the big enchilada that's already in its place.
Yeah, I'm a programmer though, dude. It's more than just style.
Okay.
I mean,
all right. Maybe
some of it is just experience and depth of talent.
Has Twitter ever been changed since its inception?
Yeah, it's been continuously improved, and the back end is definitely a lot of it is stuff that you don't see.
Right.
The engineering that goes on with the servers and the data and the storage. Like part of Facebook's major advantage was, do you really realize how much data they're moving per second all the time? They recreated like an entire way to store data from spinning disks and databases to a whole new complete structure in order to be as rapid in replying as they are with the dynamic feeds and everything. And that's not something that you just say, okay, well, we'll go start up.
You're talking about spinning disks?
Well, spinning disks is all part of it.
Right.
We're talking about, obviously they have SSDs all over the place. They have spinning disks all over the place. They have everything. I mean, part of the magic of Google was they actually did, all of their infrastructure for the first decade or better was on every computer they could get a hold of. So, I mean, a lot of it was garbage computers. It was not like all neat racks and standard data centers. It was very non-cohesive backends, if you will. So, a lot of hard drives that weren't the same size and different very things. And they wrote all of that, all the engineering talent they had in there to create all this fabric was never seen before.
Oh, can Parler get some of those disgruntled whistleblower engineers to come over?
Some of them, and some of them do. But okay, you work in the industry, and this is part of it. We always
what industry?
Yeah, okay. We always
I get the tech industry. What industry?
Well, okay, you work with a bunch of hacks at writing words to come out of other people's mouths, right?
Now we're getting somewhere.
And I'm going to guess that Carolla isn't that far wrong about that when he said, if you're in Hollywood and somebody's really quiet about politics, they're probably a conservative, because they're not going to say shit out loud.
That's definitely true. That's definitely true. You talk around it. You talk around it.
Right. And the thing is that a lot of people depend on their mortgage. They depend on their family. All their friends are in it. They're not just sit there and say, oh, hell with you and hell with everything else. They're just going to put their nose down, talk on the QT, and just suck it up. And it's most of the
crew. It's most of the crew guys who are blue collar guys. Those are the guys you're talking about. Gaffers, grips, DPs.
Sure.
Life guys. Those are all blue collar guys who live in Burbank and North Hollywood, who've been in the business for years and don't want to lose their house.
Right, and you can't blame them.
No, I'm not blaming them at all.
Well, it's just not that different than an engineer in San Jose or San Francisco who has like a unimaginable, cost of living that is being compensated by the high salaries at Google, Apple, the whole suite of them. Can they stick their neck out? Can they be honorable or say whatever? Well, no, they really probably can't afford it.
Well, a couple of them have.
And it's hard.
The recent guy with O'Keefe, was very good.
Oh yeah. After he got fired,
the Facebook whistleblower, the recent one, who just that guy was very, very courageous, very courageous.
Okay, well, and Dr. Wood, being sympathetic and non-contentious as usual. Now, I will give him credit though, because he's gone against cops in Baltimore, and they're armed. So, there's something to be said there. I personally am just saying that I do understand, and it can be tough. And then when you have all the engineering talent, where are they going to go? You have to actually scale something up enough to where a lot of talented people say, oh, good, I can jump,
To
over there.
other side.
Sure. And I had hope for Austin and Texas, but that's turning into another freaking Southern California, really. And I don't
As
see
a
much
tech
hope
hub,
there.
you mean, or as a hub?
Yeah, it was a tech hub and everything else, but the problem is that they're bringing in the same mental philosophies with them as they move there. They're like, I got to get out of California. This is just a mess. These taxes, da 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 da. And then they go somewhere else and they go, there ought to be a law.
Everyone says that. Yeah, Arizona is saying the same thing. The people who live.
I'm from Tucson.
Oh,
so I've seen that
Yeah.
like my whole life. We were early signals on that.
Right.
But all right, so let's see. On a happy note, because we want to have some fun this evening, and there could be nothing more fun than discovering a new star. You sent me that there's a new YouTube sensation that is coming out as of now, and I'm very blown away. I think it's awesome.
What is this?
You have
Hinckley you're talking about, John
Hinckley Jr. is a
All right,
YouTube star. Is
I bought
that
the
not
album.
nice?
It's pretty good. He knows his stuff, Hinckley. Play a little bit, you'll see.
Yeah, here we go. I mean, it's only about a minute, guys.
Yeah.
Let's listen to the dulcet tones of a wannabe presidential assassin.
This is the majesty of love. When every couple settles down.
Play it a little louder, Eric.
This will be found.
That's
The majesty of love.
all I got. Well, now they're gonna put their overlay in. I want his music.
You guys start over.
Here we go.
Among the rowdy crowd, that was when I did hear you said it.
Look at all the clocks he's got. You think he's concerned about time?
Everything is gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be alright.
All right, well, folks, there we go. Opportunities abound on YouTube for absolutely applause. Opportunities for everyone. We all need to have something for it. So
it's really strange, Eric, the link between the arts and assassination.
really,
Yeah.
please tell me more. I mean, John Wilkes Booth was an actor, right?
Not
Is that
only
where you're
that, I
going?
mean, the killing of Lincoln would be the equivalent of Woody Harrelson killing Joe Biden today. Because John Wilkes Booth was not just an actor. I mean, he was like from the Barrymore family, the equivalent of John Barrymore and Drew Barrymore. His family, his brother, everyone, they were the top acting family in America. And the equivalent.
Yeah, he's above Woody Harrelson. He'd be
Right,
more like
I'm just saying Woody Harrelson simply because his father claimed to have been the hitman that killed JFK. Charles Harrelson. That's why I use Woody Harrelson as an example.
I got you.
You could use Brad Pitt or whatever, but I chose Woody Harrelson simply because of his father. Not many actors' fathers claim to have killed the president of the United States.
No, but he did in fact kill a federal judge. That one.
Absolutely. So he's got bona fides in this area. This is not just a lone nut. He claims to have been a gun for hire and killed many different people. And many people believe that he was one of the three tramps coming out of the boxcar right outside of Dealey Plaza when they were arrested. The three so-called tramps. For many years, one of them was identified as Charles Harrelson, Woody's father. Woody then went to visit him in jail, and he seems to have recanted that he killed the president. So I'm not really sure where that is. But the fact of the matter is you've got John Wilkes Booth, who killed Lincoln, in one of the biggest presidential conspiracies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
They're hanging Mary Surratt. They're hanging people left and right for that conspiracy. Now you've got a group like Manson. Like I have an album by Manson, his demo album that he gave to Universal Records. Okay. Manson, another mass murderer, has another album, just like Hinckley does. John Gacy
He has a song on the Beatles too.
Right, absolutely.
I mean, not the Beatles, the Beach Boys. Sorry.
Right. I mean, one of the songs on the album is called Kill the Children, with the Manson girls in the background singing in chorus, Kill the Children, which the Universal executives felt was not a #1 hit with a bullet. But the Hinckley, the Hinckley album, which I believe is going to go double platinum, might be better than Manson's, but neither one is as good as the John Wasey clown paintings, which are selling at an incredible rate through prison.com. Gacy's paintings combined with Manson's album and also the, Ted Bundy tapes along with the Kaczynski tapes. You've got
on that note, you have a certain World War II world leader who attacked everybody else's art. That's very famous.
Oh, you're talking about the house painter Hitler?
Thanks, dude. I'm already, I already put in the request for review because I'm already semi-demonetized. Thank you for driving that stake in.
You're not supposed to say Hitler? Is Hitler verboten?
Oh, dude, you have no idea. I'm going to train you on YouTube for our show. Yes.
Okay. I'm just saying there is a direct link between the arts and murder and crime and assassination. There's a direct link.
Is that like an insanity? Because I'm going to say
I think the artistic side of the brain is linked to the id and linked to a lot of offbeat thinking, and drugs and alcohol and acid and, whatever you want to do on that other side of the brain.
When we talked about the German troops in World War II were taking mass amounts of the equivalent of crystal meth at the time, right?
Methamphetamine. Okay. Yeah, it was called Privaten, I think it was the German name for it, but it was the invention of crystal methadone. That's where it came from.
Okay, and speaking of fun with drugs, it looks like I'm negotiating right now, but I think Tom O'Neill is going to be on the show talking about, shall we say, the drugs that were around Manson and the gang, and may tie into the CIA and everything else. And of course, the CIA we're going to have next week with Mark, the CIA in Hollywood. And if you guys enjoyed this with Mark, we're going to go crazy. And I'm going to let Mark off his leash to baffle us all with this.
I would like to say this. I mean, imagine this, Eric. Imagine that Lee Harvey Oswald's father, right, had dinner the night before the assassination with LBJ's brother.
Yeah.
Just try to imagine
you're talking about the Hinckley, like a parallel with the Hinckley?
Yeah.
Or is this another?
No, it's the parallel with Hinckley.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, okay.
No, George
W. Bush's son.
Walker Bush would have been a millimeter away had Hinckley succeeded in assassinating Ronald Reagan, which is what he attempted to do. He had dinner. His father who had a huge oil concern, which is why Hinckley is out of the psychiatric institute and home playing his guitar, which is very rare for political assassins. You don't see Squeaky Fromme, who tried to kill Gerald Ford, did not make an album, as you can imagine.
No.
Okay. So you've got the father of the assassin, which would be the father of, let's say, Lee Harvey Oswald, having dinner the night before the assassination with the brother of LBJ.
And one more step, too, that you got to bring up, the former head of the CIA being the father of the person who was having the dinner. I'm just saying that CIA just to kind of come up a little bit over and over and over.
Right. But I'm just saying, if I was to say that to someone, they would say that's the craziest conspiracy I've ever heard, that Lee Harvey Oswald's father was having dinner with LBJ's brother on November 21st in Dallas. People would say, you're crazy. And yet there's Hinckley's father having dinner with Neil Bush, about the oil business, while Hinckley's in his bedroom playing Helter Skelter backwards. Whatever he was doing. I'm not really sure what he was doing in that bedroom, and they just had to keep yelling, shut the fuck up in there, John, please. I'm having dinner out here with the Bushes. And he said, all right, I'll do the best I can. I'll see what I could do for you. And if Hinckley had been successful, Bush would have been president the next day.
Wow. Good point.
It's just the point. I mean, it's just, one of these oddities that we're supposed to accept as being non-conspiratorial people. We're supposed to be insane for thinking that there might be a conspiracy between George Herbert Walker Bush and the assassination of Ronald Reagan.
Well, that and
also LBJ and
correct.
JFK.
Oh, sure. Isn't it true that the term conspiracy theory itself was used as a pejorative by the CIA to put down the thought of people having theories about what might be going on at the time? Oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Oh, it's a tinfoil hat thing. Oh, blah, blah, blah.
In fact, it was more specific than that. It was a direct attack on Mark Lane in 1964 because his book, Rush to Judgment, was the #1 book on the New York Times bestseller list. CIA sent out a memorandum to all their media assets to attack Mark Lane personally as a conspiracy nut. They came up with the term directly to attack Mark Lane personally as the author of Rush to Judgment, to destroy him and smear his reputation, because the book was creating such havoc in denouncing the Warren Commission that this was their counter move. And the counter move was directed at Mark Lane personally.
Okay, and I've got a super chat. Judy Woodruff claimed initially the actual shooter was in a black suit in a catwalk above the president, which would fit the Reagan match bullet. Now, this is where it's rolling together.
I don't know what she's talking about. There's a catwalk outside the hotel, so I don't know what's going on over there. But the reality of it is that conspiracy smear was directly related directed to Mark Lane and his book Rush to Judgment, which was one of the first major anti-Warren Commission books, and indeed was the #1 bestseller on the New York Times bestseller list for months in New York. And this was an attempt to attack him using their media assets, like a guy named John Gibney. And you say to yourself, who's John Gibney? How does he fit into this? John Gibney is a guy at Newsweek, and he is a CIA media asset.
That's Alex Gibney's father.
That's right. And he wrote to Alan Dulles saying, I can't do this anymore. I want out of this job. He writes to Alan, I have the letter, I have a copy of the original letter, on Time Life Stationery, saying he can't do the work for Alan Dulles anymore that the CIA wants him to do as an editor at Newsweek. And he's one of the type of the media asset that would be directed by this memorandum from the Central Intelligence Agency that's been declassified to attack Mark Lane. Now, Alex Gibney, as many people understand, is a media asset of the CIA today. He's the guy doing their bidding today. They work in families. They trust families. They want to use father-son families just for trust issues. Legacy, yeah. They've always done that.
Now, I'm curious. Is there a CIA tie to Scientology?
Not that I know of. I don't see.
Okay, well, I just know that Gibney and Scientology kind of,
No, in fact, I would look at them. They probably have them on their target as a group that they'd like to take down. I don't think there's a connection other than get them out of the way. Okay.
By the way, hint: there may be a Scientology episode coming up later with Mark.
Oh, I didn't know that. Is that true? That's true.
I don't know. You showed me something, so we may be having to have.
Look, I mean, I'm in Hollywood. They can get me at any time.
Okay, well then we may move it up the ladder.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they've been quiet lately. You don't hear much about them, except for Tom and Travolta. With the fatal level 11 power to heal through touch, which is an odd power. I guess you have to spend X amount of money to get that power. But let's face it.
Work for Kelly. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, or their kid apparently, and who passed away. I don't know. I really don't know what the deal is. They've been laying low lately.
I think they've been from the people I've talked to, who have broke away or whatever. They've been severely weakened. Mm-hmm. And the internet has been the most destructive thing possible.
Mm-hmm. Well,
it's hard to hide from other information leaking in.
This Masterson case that Barnes alluded to the other day is happening in LA right now. the rape of different girls. He was talking about with Fry this
Oh,
week.
that's right.
That's Danny Masterson in that case. And he, Barnes also said correctly that they were masterful in browbeating the IRS into eventually giving them tax exempt status, which allowed them to do everything as a religion. It's a religion without a church, religion without a school, religion without a hospital, religion without donations, religion without priests, but they have the tax exempt status of a religion. So, go figure. Apparently these are unrescindable for some reason,
Could be an interesting precedent for others. I mean,
Yeah.
some say that Nexium is nothing more than a Scientology clone, and that Scientology is based on North Korean tactics.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's from what I understand. If you
Well, I
read
remember
Lipton
investigating-
and
I went into a deep dive over Reverend Sun Young Moon back in the day. I remember getting really involved in the Unification Church. I had a couple of girlfriends who became members of the church. One of them had to be kidnapped and brought back to New York from Vermont. She was living on a farm, the Unification Church farm up there. She had to be deprogrammed. She was never the same.
did you work with Rick Ross or?
No, I didn't.
Hassan?
I was just, when I went to Bard College, Reverend Moon purchased the Unification Church, which was abutting the land. There was a big old Christian Brothers training school there, which is what it was. It was a winery, Christian Brothers training school. He bought that and made it into a Unification Church compound. It was a huge castle, and the land abutted the land of the college. They were right next to each other. So we used to go over there and we saw some very strange things. And this is like really early on. We didn't know who they were or what they were, but we saw some very strange things. In the middle of the night, people trying to escape in the rain, putting their heads on the railroad tracks and killing themselves.
Oh, good Lord.
No,
You
there
didn't see that, did you?
was crazy stuff, crazy stuff. We saw a guy trying to escape in the middle of the night, being dragged back by Moonies. We were in a house across the street, right across the street from the church. And we saw incredibly strange things. So when Moon was arrested for trespassing, he was coming onto the property to look for land he could buy, additional land. And the school had said to him, if you come on the property, we're going to arrest you for trespassing. And indeed they did. And they brought him, they went to the courthouse in Barrytown, actually in Rhinebeck, New York. And they had a hearing because he was arrested. The lawyers were there. He wasn't there. Everybody showed up from New York. The press showed up. Local news from New York showed up. And the lawyers for Reverend Moon were outside claiming that he was being railroaded for all these things. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, I decided to say all these things that I'm alluding to you about the odd things that we had seen there in the middle of the night. And all of a sudden, the lawyers turned to me in a circle and started chanting, Eric, death to you, death to you, death to you. And I was on the Reverend Moon death list from then on.
That's not creepy.
Oh, it was very creepy. We went back to a bar that night and watched it on the CBS local news because all the local CBS, NBC, ABC newsmen that come up from New York, they all covered it. And Moon didn't show up. The lawyers were there. He was charged with trespassing. It was a misdemeanor. I mean, it wasn't a big deal. But
By the way, this is the same Moon who bought the Washington Times, right?
Later, yeah, a couple of years later. Yeah, this was before that. Yeah, he also bought the Penta Hotel in New York. And
that's why I wonder a little bit about Epic Times. And I'm sorry, everybody's going to get mad, but you've got another kind of odd
Well, he was
ownership.
Nixon, don't forget. He was the world's largest arms manufacturer, and he was a big Nixon campaign supporter, Reverend Moon. So he was a big Republican donor. He then married like 2,500 people at the same time in Madison Square Garden, one of the strangest events of all time.
Okay, let me get a couple things out real quickly. Epstein, super chat. Both guards fell asleep at the same time. Both cameras were working, and a cellmate was removed despite him being a suicide risk. Well, yeah, I mean, the guards already said that they lied on whatever it was. I thought they were actually tooling around the internet and not asleep, but I don't know what they were doing. Barnes said there's a couple Scientology cases coming up.
He's talking about the Masterson case, right?
No, it's before the California Supremes. So I don't know. Potentially on Scientology arbitration. Are you going to cover that down the road, Barnes, or in a hush hush or anything? And let me see. Have anything else. Asking if Scientology would win. Okay. Moon sued the New York Times over alleged ties to Korean intelligence.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
When was that, Barnes?
Interesting.
And they're asking if there's a sidebar. And then Masterson also before the trial court.
Right.
Now that, yeah, I don't know much about his. Okay. Oh, I guess they were discussed Sunday, and I missed that. Sorry, dude.
Well, I told you about Ingram, right? The story of the LAPD muscle who came after me. They have a ex-LAPD cop named
Oh,
Ingram.
yeah. We're gonna say that for the show, though.
Oh, okay, fine.
You have that nice letter, and hey, there's some props, and there's fun. Come on,
Okay, I don't know. We've talked so much, I forget what we've gone over.
Yeah. No. Definitely. Saving that. And while we're getting into some, good old fashioned fun suppression, another story. This one I had on cue. It's a few days old, but who cares? Facebook is not just satisfied to fact check anybody on YouTube or whatever. They're fact checking individual users. So anybody who wants to post on your timeline, congratulations.
Boy, these people really love the truth, don't they?
Oh yeah,
They're obsessed about the truth. You got to tip your hat to them.
That's right. They got a very special.
Who are just obsessed about truth.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, and think about that for a second. They're actually flagging people.
Right.
So your crazy uncle, you may not see anything from for a while because guess what? We already have problems on Facebook that, anybody who follows you as your friend, only like 15% is ever going to see anything you post anyway, unless you pay. Now, that's my question. If I run a Facebook ad or if I pay to boost my post, will it now suddenly get through the noise?
I don't know, but they should start fact checking Hollywood movies and see how accurate they are.
Oh, well, that won't take long.
No, I mean, there are biopics and stories like Dalton Trumbo's and hidden gems with these black women who helped put John Glenn in space. There are absurd biopic stories that are completely made up by Hollywood. I would love to have Facebook fact check them and just see how many accurate ones there are. Take the hurricane story with Reuben Hurricane Carter. I mean, there's tons of these that just have blatant lies in them and are sold, marketed, and picked up as factual biopics, and they're not even close to the truth.
Actually, you know what would be cool? We should do a show or consider one about actual firsts. And this has been something that's been bugging me for a while, like Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks was staged. She was not the first
card-carrying communist too. I mean,
I know, but there was somebody who said, "Oh, screw you! I'm not going to give up my seat." They lived in Chesapeake, Virginia, just down the road.
Right.
But she was also pregnant out of wedlock, etc. So they said, "Oh, we like this subject and this theme."
There's so many.
You don't work so well.
Show about this. There's so many of them. I mean, Jackie Robinson. Every April, I have to go through this Jackie Robinson thing and tell people he was a Republican who supported Nixon, who backed the war in Vietnam, who worked for Nelson Rockefeller, and they look at me like I'm from another planet.
How about the picture to Iwo Jima? The one you saw.
That's not a big deal. That's not a big deal to me. But I'm talking about myth making.
I'm just saying, over and over.
Making, when you hear the tapes of Martin Luther King, when you start to read the transcripts and Ralph Abernathy's first draft of Abernathy's memoir, which was then immediately burned to the ground. I have a copy of the first edition. Second edition, all the stuff is gone about the sex life of Martin Luther King. This is from his closest associate. Not that I begrudge King. I just like the truth better than I just like the truth better than myth. I don't really care what he did. I mean, the guy who signs the wiretaps is Robert Kennedy. As most people who study this know, it's not that much of a secret. But I mean, the tapes themselves are buried for national security reasons. You're talking about a private person and a judge who orders these tapes to be buried in the archives that can't be listened to by the American people. He's a private person, private citizen. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. There's national security about his tapes. I mean, come on.
All good points. Oh, by the way, Barnes asked if you had stories on John Milius.
Yes, I do. I do. I do. I don't want to tell them here and now, but they're real.
That's a follow-up. Barnes, maybe we'll try to reach out through you to maybe we can, get his daughter on as well. Or
I love his daughter. I would marry his daughter in a second. I love that woman. I watched the sidebar with her. I love her.
She's from the tribe too, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So you gotta
I
love
just
that
kept
even more.
praying. I just kept praying through the sidebar. Don't be a lesbian. Don't be a lesbian. Don't be a lesbian. Don't be a lesbian.
No, she's just a single cat lady.
I love her. I actually love her. I give it all up for her in a second.
Well, you got to get a few shows under your belt.
Right.
So
Do you think she could learn to love me, Eric? Do you think she could learn to be with me?
I don't know. Can you learn to love yourself?
I'm already loving myself. I got that going on, but I got to learn to love Amanda Milius.
I know. No, I'm sure that you're a very, 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 very lovable.
I would just like to read my scripts with her out loud on a couch one night in front of a fireplace. Is that too much to ask?
Hey, well, there you go. There you go. Barnes pointed out he watched Rome, and Milius clearly wrote himself in Titus Polo. I had no idea that's who wrote Rome. I loved Rome, but it's been 15 years since I saw Rome.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fantastic series. Sadly, out of budget. I think it cost too much for them to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you. I'll give Barnes a little one. My film partner on this thing, Thomas Jane, is trying to work with Milius to get the Genghis Khan script into a workable, filmable situation at this moment. So there is active stuff going on.
Awesome. And there is
we're doing the Oswald podcast, by the way. I just spoke with Thomas Jane, and we're going out to talent for the 10-hour miniseries of Oswald turned into a filmed podcast with celebrity actors playing roles in the podcast.
And you'll be on here talking about it, right?
Oh yeah, no. Well, come on and plug the shit out of it. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Awesome. I mean, this film footage, we're going to do Foley afterwards, sound effects, music, the whole thing. It's going to be like the Mercury Radio Theater. We're trying to create like an Orson Welles team of actors to do a bunch of these scripts.
All right. And then speaking of cult, Scientology, whatever you want to call it, Yvette asked a question. Whatever happened to the interview with Nikki Klein?
I don't know who
Nikki couldn't do it, was doing something at the time, and has never really got back with me. And I just get tired of kind of trying to arrange something. So that probably will never happen. Maybe I'll hear something out of the blue. Got the cover art done, but I'm not going to count on it. I think she has her motivations.
Mm-hmm.
And,
everybody knows that at this point.
Yeah. It is what it is.
It is what it is. You got to move on.
All right. So now, why is Scott Adams obsessed with her? I don't know. Scott loves mind control. He loves hypnosis. And I don't know what end of the scale he's on with that. I'd love to have Scott on to ask him. I have asked him to. I've also challenged him on the hypnosis thing. And to his credit, he responded. But we didn't. Okay. Well, Mark, are you up for this? You want to have an uncensored call-in show on Locals?
Eric, please have an uncensored call-in show with Mark. Yeah, whatever you want to do. What does that mean?
All right. Well, we could do it on Locals
or something, or
yeah, it would be like a Zoom call, and then people can just call in and ask questions.
Of course, yeah. It's like it sounds like 1980. It sounds like a radio show. Okay, right, sure.
That's we could do it. We could. You know what? Absolutely. We may do that, like an unpublished live stream only for Locals. And
I see. That's a great idea. Yeah, that's
fantastic.
Thank you.
So, yeah. Unstructured.locals.com. I'm slacking. I need Barnes in there.
You need to push a button where it's Barnes saying it, and just push the
there
button
you go,
and just be done with it because he's the best at it.
Not only that, Barnes has plugged it more times in the chat sometimes on my own show than I do. He's so amazing at it. I suck at so many ways.
Just get a recording of Barnes doing it. Just play that recording. That's it.
Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah, that's right. And by the way, everybody, on Locals, don't just join, but there's a tip jar now. I found that last night.
What's a tip jar?
Everybody. People can donate coins to particular posts,
I mean,
and
like
I know.
Bitcoin that went to 37,000 from 57,000. When am I going to stop losing money on Bitcoin? And Eric, I mean, more importantly,
Dude, I don't know. You should have bought AMC today, I guess. AMC's been doing really, really good.
mm.
But okay. Here's a story that you definitely wanted.
Just a brief thing about hypnosis that I was telling you about. There's plenty of audio of the hypnosis of Sirhan. There's hours of recordings where they're making him climb the bars and, obviously inputting, possible memories into him. But there's plenty of audio recordings of Sirhan. He was hypnotized for hundreds of hours by all kinds of different, the defense and the prosecution. Both sides came in and hypnotized him.
Spoiler alert, we're going to be doing a Bobby Kennedy episode, Mark and I.
Alert.
All right. Mark, you wanted to talk about this. This is one that you
I got to get this off my chest. Yeah. I can't live with myself. I was just looking at the FBI's list of the 480 people who were arrested by the FBI this afternoon, and the charges against every one of them. I was reading the court charges, and most of them are trespassing, like Barnes was saying, misdemeanor charges. But it's page after page after page of what I'm calling the 16500. There's now 500 of them arrested January 6th. I'm calling them the 16500. And we really have to give a shout out to these people. There's a lawyer involved named Marty Tankleff, who's defending 2 or 3 of them. And Tankleff is an interesting guy because Tankleff was a guy who at the age of 17 was accused of killing his parents and served 18 years in jail until he proved his innocence, was able to get out of jail and prove that his father's business partner killed his parents. And Tankleff, who is a New York lawyer, adjunct professor at Georgetown University, spent 18 years to clear his name, finally overturned in 2007. He receives 2 multi-million-dollar wrongful conviction settlements from the court. Yeah. He then goes to law school, where he becomes an attorney, passes the bar in 2020, and is now representing a number of the defendants in the January 6th case, which is an unbelievable story by this guy. And he says his clients keep acting out in court because they can't take it anymore. They're not allowed to meet with the lawyer. They're not allowed to see the footage of them being accused of what they're being accused of. They're not allowed to look at laptops. They can't meet with the lawyers privately. It's absolutely insane. And this is from him telling the story, not me. I mean, the thing about Tankleff is he went through it himself. He knows what it's like to be falsely accused. And he's defending 3 of them at this point. I don't know if he's expanding that to more people, but he's got 3 of the defendants right now. And a lot of them are snapping when they're brought into court, Eric, because they're in solitary confinement 23 hours a day. They don't even have a razor blade, a nail clipper, nothing. It's as Michelle Malkin called it yesterday, the American gulag. And yet nobody seems to want to cover this story. I mean, you're talking about 480, now 500 Americans being charged ostensibly with trespassing. I mean, this has gone so far. I'm so embarrassed to be an American with this story. That's the Michelle Malkin story that came out yesterday. It's an absolute embarrassment to the American people, to our culture. I mean, what's his name? Lavrov came out yesterday, the foreign minister of Russia, saying that this is a crime against humanity and he's going to take it to the United Nations. I mean, we're being humiliated on the world stage over this thing. They're talking about this political prisoner in Russia. That's absurd. We've got 500 people with no criminal records being held, without being charged. I mean, this no bail. I mean, some of them have bail, obviously, they've gotten out, but the ones who are in there, Eric, I mean, it's so draconian. They put them in a closed, formerly condemned DC jail, an old one that was condemned. They put them all.
By the way, on that note, and Mike, we can speak to that too. That's something I did not realize. A lot of people will plea and go ahead to go to prison because a jail often is far worse conditionally than a prison, because a prison, you're kind of settled down. That's where you're going to be. It's settled. in jail, a lot of times people have fewer rights. They can't get a book from the light. They
They've
can't.
been beaten
They can't
by
get
guards. They've been
anything.
abused. That guy that you showed at the Pelosi desk, he was in an Oklahoma federal prison. He said, that's not bad being here. It was totally organized, totally clean. They transferred him to the DC
Exactly.
jail, that guy in the photo, and he's been released on bail. Of the 480 people, only 2 have copped a plea and pled guilty to get out of this mess. 2 for misdemeanor trespassing. And the rest of them are holding tight. And there's a lot of cohesion among the prisoners saying, don't make a deal with the feds. This thing is one of the biggest embarrassments I've ever seen, possibly since Nixon locked up everyone in DC during the moratorium protest in RFK Stadium. I don't know if you remember that. When Nixon was president, there was a mobilization against the war in DC, and there were mass arrests. And it looked like something out of Chile under Pinochet. This thing is far worse, far more draconian. This is going on month after month after month. What the attorney Tankleff said is these people have homes, they have jobs, they could easily be given ankle bracelets, they can easily post bail, and they will not do it. They will not do it. And the lawyers, the prosecution keeps delaying and delaying and delaying and delaying on purpose, and it's punitive. And it's a mad dog culture of prosecution in DC, a mad dog culture that many people have talked about. But I can't do a show without mentioning any show I'm on. I'm going to talk about these guys. It's something out of some dystopian HBO miniseries. I really at night I'm just like haunted by this that we're Americans doing this. I don't give a shit how far right these people are. I don't care. I'm sure many of them are far to the right of me and will always be. That's not even the point. Nancy, now it's where Elizabeth Warren and Dick Durbin have called for them to be released. That's how far this has gotten. And yet to no avail. To no avail. At what point do we have to say, look, enough is enough already? Let these people out.
That's I don't know. It's insane.
And
what I worry about is,
I just want to say the fact that there's not a vigil in front of that jail with 500 people every night, and you can rotate the 500 or 100, whatever it is. There's 75 million people voted for Trump. The idea that 100 people cannot show up at that jail and rotate in and out to just have the common decency to keep this story in the limelight is outrageous. Outrageous. Even the Chicago 7 got bail. He's absolutely fucking correct. This is one of the biggest outrages in American history.
Good Lord. Good Lord. My biggest worry too is not only that they're utilizing them to create a new Patriot Act to go against an opposing party. And so I feel like this goes even deeper. Obviously there's situations.
It goes much deeper,
terrible, but
obviously goes.
It won't stop there.
No, they're not going to stop there. Obviously making an example of these people is completely obvious, but at some point, either we're a nation of laws or we're not. This is absurd. Ted Kaczynski, the fucking Unabomber, puts out manifestos that, to the radical left Earth First movement, telling them how to blow shit up. And he's been in Supermax. He's having press conferences, this guy who's a killer. And these guys can't go home for misdemeanor trespassing charges? It's insane. It's absolutely fucking insane.
I totally agree. And when everybody's pointing that out, I don't know if you knew that today is the 1-year anniversary of David Dorn getting murdered. On the other side of it.
Yeah. Was that the guy in Chicago? Where was he? In Milwaukee or?
God, I don't. And now I feel bad. St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, St. Louis. I'm sorry. St. Louis. Yeah.
Yeah. He retired cop, was defending a shop, got murdered a year ago today.
The case of the woman killed by the whatever he was, the black undercover cop who killed her during the protest. This is going to be an interesting case. This is going to be an interesting civil litigation.
Ashley Babbitt?
Ashley Babbitt, whoever killed Ashley Babbitt is a show. Who is this guy? Where does he live? What's his name? How old is he? Has he killed before? Does he kill people all the time? Is he still on the force? What's the deal? What's the deal? Where do we live here? Where do we live? I don't give a shit about this guy. I could care less. But we got to know who this person is. Who's his lawyer? How did he get this treatment? Give us a break here. You're telling me, there's a woman, I forget her name. She's an investigative reporter for the Miami Herald. She's done, Carol Lenig, I think her name is. She's done incredible reporting on the Guantanamo Bay prisoners for 10, 15 years down there. And I emailed her the other day. I said, Carol, I love your work, but there's 480 Americans, and she goes into detail about these Guantanamo prisoners. They've got bad toilet paper. They don't have Korans. They have to go outside for 5 minutes. Not one fucking article about 480 Americans who are in prison in the United States. And this woman continues to go to Guantanamo Bay, Pulitzer Prize winning investigative reporter. I said, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Not one fucking article about the prison conditions of these people in the DC jails. It's outrageous.
Yes, wait. She wrote back and said, damn it, Mark, you're right.
She's written great stuff about the Guantanamo, the prisoners in Guantanamo. I just said, when are you going to do a similar series on the people in the DC jails? I mean, it's a no-brainer to me. I would go to my editor and say, I'm going to cover the DC jail story. Let you fire me.
Which editor would let you do that?
Oh,
unless you're with a quote fringe press,
right?
Yeah,
well, obviously, the LA Weekly, would have let me cover both sides, and they did for a long time. I mean, obviously, the Weekly World News, when you're starting to put photos of Jesus and Karl Marx, I could have done anything there.
Well, that's a range.
It was a broad range of the Weekly World News. Now, let me tell you something. When I was hired by the Weekly World News, it was right after the anthrax attack killed their photo editor. And that building had all the photos in it. And he was killed by the anthrax mailings to him. So I came on board right when that happened. And there was a governor in Florida named Jeb Bush who would not financially help clean the building of anthrax and bring in a hazmat team. He eventually had to sell the building. And it was bought by a security firm that took it over that was run by Rudy Giuliani. Small little tidbit of trivia there.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We got to pull it out. It is news of booze. And obviously beer is very important to me.
Obviously.
And so I don't know if I'm going to, rush to do it, but everybody needs to know that you can always get free beer if you get vaccinated.
Is this the lowest level of Democratic giveaways you've ever seen in your life? I mean, I watched Newsom give out $50 gift cards the other day on the stump. Gavin Newsom is giving out $50 gift cards out of his pocket.
Sure.
Out of his pocket. Just literal handout, physically Democratic handouts to just random cats who said, I got vaccinated, right? So now the new thing is free beer, right? I mean, this has got to be one of the biggest jokes I've ever seen in my life. I mean, what if you want to trade the beer in for weed? Can we get weed? I mean, I don't want to drink beer. I'd rather have the weed. How about, do we get acid? What about acid? What about
I thought you were more of a meth guy.
No, I'm not talking about me personally, but a lot of my friends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I want the meth, obviously. I don't know if Biden's going to go full meth. But the reality of it is, why stop at beer? What is it about beer? I mean, Anheuser-Busch is obviously going to throw down an X amount of beer, but we've got plenty of weed in this country. There's plenty of people who'd like to smoke weed and get a vaccine. Why stop at beer? Just go full bore. I remember when Normal was telling us for years that we're never going to legalize any other substance than marijuana, and yet the bill up in the Senate in California right now is to legalize all psychedelics. Full meth. I say full meth with J-Bar.
Oh, no, you know what? You're right. Hold on. No, I think KM's right. Let's just go the whole way. Fentanyl, we can all die.
Absolutely. Everything. Chairs made out of fentanyl, hamburgers made out of fentanyl, glasses made out of fentanyl. Every single street drug right now that looks like a prescription drug is 100% fentanyl.
By the way, Dr. Drew with Mark Robert, we talked about that. So everybody check it out. Fentanyl is running amok.
Amok.
Yes.
Amok.
Dude, I'm scholarly. I have to hang with, wise types like you and get my vocabulary.
You've done a good job, Eric. Since the lobotomy, I can't believe the success, the work that they've done on your cranium. I can't even see where they drilled in, Eric.
Well, of course you can, because I don't have enough hair to cover it.
Oh, so. Right. It must have come in. Did they come in from the back, or?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. I've got like a dent over. Anyway.
There was a guy who used to say, "I'd rather have a bottle in front of me
than a frontal lobotomy." I vaguely remember that.
Remember that?
Oh God, yeah. God, yeah.
Where are we in the news tonight? Where are the stories? Let's see. If
Yeah,
can-
we've got to have hey, we got one more again. We try to have the real news,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to, of course, stop the freaking video from playing. So let's see if we can get this to play correctly. Superman is in the news.
It's not this one, Eric. No.
Meals made by chefs
Oh,
and
great.
nutritionists.
And
No.
let's go. We got a pre-roll ad. So
What's that one?
I'll look at Mark's glorious face here until we have that. But no, hey, that's important news. Man.
There was a Superman here in town who was eventually became a meth addict. He dressed as Superman in front of Mann's Chinese Theater. He lived in a studio apartment in Hollywood for years and was killed by meth dealers, and they found him in a dumpster in a Superman costume.
Lovely.
He was our Superman.
Lovely.
He was the Hollywood Superman.
He was a Superman for all of you.
Well, I mean, he was more Superman. But this guy. Oh, Jesus Christ, Eric.
Agora fica show de aço.
No, please, Eric.
Terráqueos.
Superman, look out. Superman.
É o freio. O freio desse carro denuncia. Então tá bom.
Oh, dear God, Eric. That was terrible.
Testosterone is what makes a man a man.
I don't know
But
what
if you're
this
eating
is,
foods
but the reality of it is, I think there's one of Batman being hit by a car. Do you have that one racked up?
I do not.
Okay. No,
I do
that's
not.
all.
So you know what? Hold on. We'll go to another hero, and we'll close out with this hero. Not everybody can be a brave, fine example. Not only a great American, but a representative for an entire family with a legacy of just pure honor. And of course, we're talking about Hunter Biden.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this is a good story. This is a very good story, Eric. I mean,
Tell us about it.
this is a story that keeps on giving. I mean, this is a laptop that has more stories in it than the Encyclopedia Britannica. Because now it turns out that the so-called stripper from Atlanta or wherever she was from actually worked for him as his assistant. And when she got pregnant with his baby, he fired her and kicked her off the company's health insurance. You can't make this up. We were first of all, he said he never met her. Second of all, we thought she was a stripper in Atlanta and he had to go down there or in the South somewhere and defend himself. He fought the paternity charges. That was proven to be false, that he is the father of the baby. And now it turns out that she actually worked for the company and was on the insurance payroll, the health insurance, and he kicked her off when she got pregnant and fired her. I mean, that's not legal. That alone is not legal. Didn't they get Al Capone on tax evasion, Eric?
I believe so.
Right. I mean, why can't they get
this?
this guy on 500 different crimes that he's committed? I mean, is there a man who's committed more crimes than Hunter Biden at this point? I mean, just sheer volume of crimes.
I mean, if you're going to have a hobby, if you're going to collect things like serial killer cards, for example, you're not going to stop with John Wayne Gacy and Ted Bundy. You're going to get the whole collection. So,
the whole collection. Look,
yeah,
there's been some bad presidential kids, but nothing like this. I mean, this is through the roof. I mean, this guy, he's the Charles Manson. He's the Charles Manson of presidential children. He's going into the
it makes
whole
me think
thing.
of Billy Carter.
I know, but Billy Carter, wasn't that Jimmy's brother?
Yeah.
Okay, so the brother is a brother. I put that in a separate category. But the children of presidents, I think is nobody is ever going to come close to Hunter Biden. I mean, this guy is going into the Presidential Child Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. Immediately.
The pantheon of pricks.
I don't know where they keep that Hall of Fame, but let me tell you something. There's a 5-year waiting period until your father's out of office. I think we should get a special declaration saying we don't have to wait 5 years to put Hunter Biden into the Hall of Fame. Roger Clinton.
I agree. I mean, if you can name a ship after somebody alive, why can't you have him there? You know,
dude, wasn't he kicked out of the Navy for snorting cocaine
yeah.
the tits of strippers then?
Sure.
Okay, so I mean,
Well, I don't know if it was on strippers. I mean, he did cocaine a lot. I'm not going to say that was the time. It could have been at a table. I mean, I get.
No, but I mean, if you
range.
take everything that's been alleged about Hunter Biden, the sheer volume,
Ooh.
the volume, he's the lion of the Senate. I mean, he's lying, lying to the Senate, as Mr. Danner has pointed out. This guy, just the sheer volume. If I dedicated my life to crime, I couldn't commit as many crimes as Hunter Biden did. I wouldn't have the resources. I mean, I wouldn't. I'd run out of crack the first month or two.
And by the way, folks, he's a pro. He ran a freaking rehab. I mean, I think he knows where to find.
I could make a call right now and have it brought over here.
As a matter of fact, you have a picture with Sam Kinison. If he doesn't know about drug use and where to find them, I don't know who does.
I learned a lot from Kinison. He was a good teacher. Yeah.
Hey, on that note, I'm always learning a ton from you, Mark. I'm looking forward to our, pilot episode next week. CIA in Hollywood.
America's
Untold
amazing Stories, Eric. Is that it? Let's plug it. America's Untold Stories.
Okay, so that's it. Officially, America's Untold Stories.
Untold motherfucking real true stories. We'll leave out the rest of it. Sam Kin's the best. That's true. That was the greatest scene of all time in that movie. That was fucking great. I'll tell you Rodney Dangerfield stories at some point because he used to bring the Lampoon staff into the club. We had our own booth in the back of his club, Dangerfield's on the Upper East Side. And he loved us. He brought us in as a group on many occasions as the staff of Lampoon. And,
all right. Well, perfect, folks. By the way, so you know what that means?
Good.
I'm almost at 20,000. So subscribe if you haven't already. Well, at least get me over the hump. And then there's so much cool shit coming down the line. I mean, I've got freaking Carol Baskin. Of course, Mark's like, where's Robbins? But I have Carol Baskin coming on Monday. Whoever seen Tiger King, I have no idea how that's going to go, but I did say the podcast or the show's about human behavior. I can't think of any more odd behavior than all those involved with Tiger King. I've got Mark coming back tomorrow. I think everybody will want to see
tomorrow? This. Is it tomorrow or next week?
No, that's Monday. Carol Baskin's on Monday. Tomorrow I have Rich Barris of People's Pundit Daily with Nate the Lawyer. Nate the Lawyer's pinned tweet is everything was perfectly fine in that thing that happened in 2020 in November. There were no problems whatsoever. And if you're wrong, here's your string of tweets.
That's
so I have him with Rich Barris, who is probably most accurate. There you go. He's probably the most accurate pollster in the business right now.
Where does he live? I've been watching the show for months. Where does he live? Where does he? North Carolina or something? Or
yeah. I think he was in Florida. He lives in North Carolina.
I love this guy. That guy's great. I could watch that guy all day.
Yeah, Barris is fun. He needs to get his microphone off the table though, because that's driving me insane.
There's a lot of sound problems with that show. I don't know what's going on, but every time I tune in, he's got another sound problem. That guy, I don't know who the girl is. She's kind of off camera yelling shit. I don't know what the
Laura's
deal is.
Awesome.
Is that his
Laura's
wife or something? Is that his girlfriend or his wife?
Laura's his wife. They're amazing.
Right.
They're absolutely amazing.
Huge fan. I'm a huge fan, and I hate everything, Eric. Yeah. There's nothing I don't hate, but I love Barnes and Fry. I love your show. I love the People's Pundit. Is that a thing?
Yeah, People's Pundit Daily.
Right, but what's the other thing he does with Barnes? That's
he does that on People's Pundit Daily. It's what are the odds?
What are the odds? I love that show. Everything else I hate.
So, yep. Well, he's here tomorrow with Nate the Lawyer. Nate swings a little lefty sometimes, but Nate's an awesome guy. A lot of fun. I always have a great time with Nate.
This was Nate, who was a lawyer for the Black Panthers with William Kunstler?
No. Nate was a cop turned DA.
That was for Barnes. That was a joke for Barnes.
Okay. Well, I'm sure he'll comment. But yeah, Nate
How many times did William Kunstler get cited for contempt? That's my question of Barnes. That's my technical question, legal question of the day. How many times was William Kunstler cited for contempt of court?
I have no idea.
You know, after watching the Chauvin lawyer sitting there the whole time, I'm yelling at the TV, and the Chauvin lawyer must be on 500 milligrams of Xanax. The guy, every once in a while, I go, I object, Your Honor. I object. It's a travesty of a sham, of a travesty of a sham. Eric Hunley, what time tomorrow? Tell him what time.
7 p.m. Eastern time. And Barnes says 62.
62. It could be. He broke Roger Maris's record.
So
Really
yeah,
funny.
I'm sure that was deliberately chosen. Yes,
Right,
perfect.
right.
Anyway, everybody, please subscribe. Please hang out. Tomorrow's going to be amazing.
I can't wait.
I can hopefully
staying
I
up
can
all
make it
night
through
on
the
that.
entire stream before they yank it off of YouTube. That's going to be the challenge of the day. And by the way, it's up on my channel right now. The thumbnail we created. I encourage everybody to look at. I'm very, very, very proud of that thumbnail.
What's the thumbnail?
Oh, you know what? Let me just show you. A thumbnail is
The show we're
the
doing?
cover.
Or?
What? It's the cover art for a video.
Mhm.
Let's see. I can get rid of a baby mama here and just show.
I think your show's going to end after we do CIA in Hollywood. So I think you've got 1 week left of your show, Eric.
Well, everybody, I'm talking to Rockfin. I'll probably be on Rockfin as well. So people who don't like YouTube, I'll probably be live streaming there. Check out that thumbnail. Is that glorious?
That looks
Or
pretty
what?
good. That looks pretty good. Salt and pepper.
We've
team.
got Rich. We've got Nate. We have, I guess you'd call that a coffin that looks like a
What is it? It
ballot
looks like a
box.
coffin.
Yeah, and it looks like a ballot box, and I don't know whatever that could mean. But anyway,
Do you
I
have
think
one
it's
of
because
these
the
for our
election.
show? You have one for the CIA in Hollywood?
I will have one. Yes,
Okay.
I've already got some of the art. I picked up a red carpet piece of art, and I'm thinking that the carpet will be decorated with the CIA logo because it's kind of running underneath. Anyway, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
So I'm working on it. I need more pictures from a co-host to
You
come
want
in.
me to send you
So-
more pictures of me personally or of the CIA? in
Oh
Hollywood?
yeah, you.
Nobody wants to see me. They want to see the CIA in Hollywood. That's what they want to see.
Yeah. You'll get some pictures made. Anyway,
The message, not
everybody-
the medium.
thank you so much. Please subscribe. Please hang out. Go to unstructured.locals.com. Keep the conversation.